I am Dr. Jesse John, Assistant Professor, Department of Anatomy, Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University, Jaipur. And today we will discuss anatomy of joints of hand. So there are different type of joints in our hand, and we will discuss all type of joints that presents in our body. खुश रहो बिटिया नमस्ते hand introduction. It will used for gross motor skills and fine motor skills, and there are five digits and we can see five fingers. Thumb we will say pollex, index finger we will say digitus indicis, and middle finger we will say digitus tertius, and ring finger we will say digitus annulus, and very little finger we will say digitus minimi. So these are all anatomical term we will use the all type of the fingers. Hand composed by a bony framework. So we can see the thumb and all the finger all are composed of the bone, and this all constitutes the framework for a hand. So there are 8 carpal bones, 5 metacarpals, and 14 phalanges. We can see in this picture there is various type of color used to differentiate all the bones very clearly. So they are carpal bones, then metacarpals, then proximal phalanges, then intermediate phalanges, then distal phalanges. So we can see there are many short bones and wider and very short, square, a rectangular shaped bone in carpals. So they are making the joints in between them and to the other bone. As carpal bone, they are making the joints in between the other carpal bones, and the same time they are making the joints between the metacarpal bones. Whereas metacarpal bone joining with proximal phalanges, they are making the joints there, and metacarpal bones also joins with the carpal bones, so they are making the metacarpal and carpal joints. In the picture, we can see more clearly and more good arrangement of the bones. Carpal bones. The names reflect on their shape. They are divided in two rows. One row is proximal and another is distal row. In proximal row, from lateral to medial, the arrangement of the bones are scaphoid, lunate, triquetrum, and pisiform. And distal row, there are arrangement of bones from the lateral to medial. There are trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, and hamate. So these are bones. They are arranged in two layers in the carpal bones. Carpal spoon are making the wrist joint also. Now we see the bones of the carpal. There are 8 bones. These are the scaphoid bone, and the structure of scaphoid bone are both like. And lunate bone, the structure of lunate is moon shaped, and triquetrum, the three-coned shape this bone, and pisiform is P-shaped, trapezium four-sided figure and trapezoid also, and capitate it means head-shaped, and hamate means hook-shaped. So these are the 8 bones, and every bones are different shaped. We can say there are particular shape of these carpal bones, and every bone is different in their shape to the another bone. So we can see here the picture of the carpal bones. They are arranged in two layers, and the bones of the carpal bones are very different in shape, and they are very different from each another. Capitate, you can see largest carpal bones and the rounded projection it has. and its head articulate with lunate bone. Lunate is large hook projection on its anterior surface. Scaphoid 70% fracture involves the scaphoid bone, and if falls on outstretched hand, the force is transmitted from the capitate through the scaphoid to the radius. Now we will see the carpal tunnel. So what is the carpal tunnel? Concave space formed by the pisiform and hamate and the scaphoid and trapezium and the flexor retiniculum. So these bones, the scaphoid, trapezium, pisiform hamate and the flexor retiniculum, these form a space, concave space, that is the carpal tunnel. Long flexor tendon of the digitus and thumb and the median nerve pass through the carpal tunnel. So these are tendons of the digits and thumb and the median nerve pass through the carpal tunnel. Narrowing of the carpal tunnel may give rise to a condition that called carpal tunnel syndrome. So you know very well there are a tunnel that is formed by the pisiform, hamate and scaphoid trapezium and with the deep fascia that is the flexor retiniculum, this form the concave space that is the carpal tunnel and some tendons and the median nerve will pass through this tunnel and some condition in clinical condition there mm, there is a narrowing of this tunnel and it will give a pressure to the median nerve, the tendons and the other things that present in the tunnel and give rise to a condition that is called carpal tunnel syndrome. So we can see here in this picture there is a tunnel formation and some contents are going through this tunnel. We can see median nerve very easily. We can see flexor retiniculum, then we are seeing the flexor digitorum profundus tendon. Carpal tunnel syndrome, so median nerve is compressed at the wrist, so there will be numbness or pain in that part where the median nerve is innervated. So if this nerve is in compressed, so the parts it is the parts that are supplied by the median nerve will be resulting in numbness or pain. Now we will see the flexor retiniculum. Flexor retiniculum is a strong fibrous band which arches over the carpus, converting the deep groove on the front of the carpal bone into a tunnel, the carpal tunnel, and flexor tendon of the digits and median nerve pass through this tunnel. We can see here this is the flexor retiniculum. Now we'll see the extensor retiniculum. Extensor retiniculum, dorsal carpal ligament we can say, and it is another anatomical term for the fascia that holds the tendon of the extensor muscles in place. So these are the retiniculum and these has a function of holding the tendons of the extensor or the flexor muscle in a place, and it is located on back of the forearm just proximal to the hand. You can see another picture here, the extensor retiniculum here. Now we will see the joints of the carpal bone, intercarpal bone or intercarpal joints. The articulation between the carpal bones that we will call intercarpal या midcarpal joints, and these are planar joints, and there is biaxial movement that is a gliding movement back forth and the side to side. So there are some movement that will be called biaxial movement, and that will be the gliding movement that can be the side to side and broken back and forth. Metacarpal bones divide into proximal base and distal head and the intermediate shaft. It consists of five cylindrical bones which are numbered from the radial to the ulnar side. First metacarpal bone, second metacarpal bone, and third metacarpal bone, fourth metacarpal bone, and fifth metacarpal bone. First metacarpal bone, we can see here the root is the proximal base, we will say, and in between the root and hand, we will say the shaft, and the distal side that we will say the head of the metacarpal bone. Now we'll see the joints of the metacarpals. Joints of the metacarpal, we will say the carpometacarpal joints. Proximal base of the metacarpals articulate with the distal row of the carpal bones. First metacarpal articulate with trapezium bone. Second metacarpal articulates primarily with the trapezoid and secondly with trapezium and capitate. And third metacarpal articulates with primarily with the capitate, and fourth metacarpal articulate with the capitate and hamate, and the fifth metacarpal articulate with hamate. So these are the metacarpals that will join the carpal bones and form the carpal joints. So first articulate with the trapezium, second articulate with the trapezoid, trapezium and capitate, and third articulate with the capitate, and fourth articulate with capitate hamate, and fifth articulate hamate. Carpometacarpal, the first carpometacarpal joint between the trapezium and first metacarpal is a saddle joint. This joint will be saddle and also known as a trapeziometacarpal joint. It will produce triaxial diarthrosis, and the rest of the carpometacarpal joint is condyloid joint, and it will produce the biaxial diarthrosis. First will produce triaxial diarthrosis movement, and the rest of the metacarpal metacarpum metacarpometacarpal joint will produce biaxial diarthrosis. And first CMC joint is the saddle joint, and rest of the CMC joints are condyloid joint. Metacarpophalangeal joint. The distal head of the metacarpals articulate with the proximal phalanges. It is also the condyloid joint, and it will produce biaxial diarthrosis, that is the flexion, extension, abduction and adduction. Now we'll see the phalanges. There are 14 bones and number 1 to 5 same with metacarpals, and each phalanx consists of proximal base and intermediate shaft and the distal head, 2 phalanges in thumb and 3 the other fingers. Phalanges can divide into proximal phalanx, middle phalanx, and distal phalanx, and except the thumb, the only proximal and distal part is there. Joints of the phalanx, interphalangeal joint. The joints between the phalanx will called interphalangeal joint. Proximal and distal interphalangeal joint, except thumb, and these are the hinge joint, and it permits the monoaxial diarthrosis, flexion and extension. We can see here in this picture the all the bones of the hand and their joints also. Movement of the hands and digits, ulnar and radial deviation of atarsy, and wrist flexion and extension at RC, and flexion and extension digit at MCP, abduction and adduction digit at MCP, abduction and adduction thumb at carpometacarpal joint, apposition and reposition thumb at CMC, and flexion extensor GD at interphalangeal joints. You can see the wrist movement. So there are flexion, extension, radial deviation, ulnar deviation, extension, pronation, supination. And in this picture we can see more clearly thumb position, thumb adduction, thumb abduction. These are adduction and abduction of the fingers. Thumb extension and flexion at MCP and CMC. Flexion digit. Now we are seeing some question here, and these for the internal personal assessment of your knowledge. So you have studied the anatomy of the joints of the hand, so you can give the answer of these questions. So these are the first is what are the joints present in the hand, and second is the what is the carpal tunnel syndrome. Explain it. Thank you so much.